Well, Dave Rempel traveled from Canada to Madison for the CrossFit Games last year.
His goal was the winner's circle. Instead, he ended up in the hospital. Brady Mallory shows us what happened next. Brady?
Well, we talked with Dave Rempel a few days after his life changed back in 2022, and he seemed fine. However, a year later, he's now showing us how simply walking away from a stroke doesn't mean the journey's over. Marriage is a long road, but after 29 years, Dave and Nikki Rempel are stronger than ever. Actually, the only thing they need to work out is who's in charge of their workouts.
How is it being in the gym together?
A little annoying, to be honest. He likes to tell me what to do or what I maybe need to do.
It's all good, though. Nikki knows Dave is particular about his fitness. I mean, look at him.
I'm doing right now, a whole lot better.
Dave was in the CrossFit Games in Madison last year and had a massive stroke while he was competing.
I mean, I was in almost denial until I was in ICU and recovery already, coming back to that, what had happened. I'm like, no, I didn't have a stroke. No, I was just a little bit dizzy.
An ambulance rushed him to SSM Health St. Mary's, where Dr. Alex Wittick performed a thrombectomy to remove the clot from Dave's brain. He talked with us just a few days later and seemed remarkably recovered. And he was already thinking about this year's CrossFit Games.
I thought like the next week I'd be back doing where I left off sort of thing.
He wasn't, and he didn't compete this year. He says he's not ready.
I wasn't quite who I used to be. And so some of that mental struggles started to set in, and I was challenged with something I'd never faced before.
It was hard to watch him. It was hard to watch a little bit of depression and set in, maybe a little bit of anxiety set in. And it's been a tough year. It's probably been the toughest year we've ever experienced.
Though Dave doesn't have any of the major stroke complications like paralysis or impaired speech, he says he's still recovering, and it's taking longer than he thought.
Because of what he does, he needs a high level of athleticism. His brain needs to work really fast to do what he does.
Dr. Wittick says Dave is very lucky to have bounced back so fast.
He's done better than most people would do after that type of stroke.
However, he says recovering from a stroke is a long process for most people, and it can take at least a year.
It is slow, and people typically get frustrated with that. You know, with Dave as well, he has the added challenge of being a very high performer.
Dave says rehab and working out again has him at about 80%.
It's definitely been a bigger mountain to climb than I anticipated.
The road to become stronger is a long one, and Dave Rempel plans to press on. He isn't 100% yet, but he's grateful for where he's at because it's miles from where he was.
I know without a shadow of a doubt that he is very fortunate.
You have to enjoy the journey, enjoy the process of whatever that big goal might be.
And some of those lingering long-term effects of a stroke can include brain fog, anxiety, headaches, numbness, and problems with movement. And Dave and Nikki say they are glad that he actually had the stroke here in Madison instead of their small town of Grand Prairie, Alberta, which is hours away from the hospital he would have needed.
So that video of him working out is post-stroke?
Yeah, post-stroke, a lot of it is. And,
Wow.
and isn't that surprising?
Yeah.
But for him, he says, you know, there are just little things like that brain fog and little things about his movement that it's not quite up to where he was at. So that's frustrating for someone who's like,
Right.
I'm almost there, but not quite.
Yeah, you need patience and some self-compassion
Yes.
at times like this.
Yeah, and he has a great support system with his family and his CrossFit family and everyone coming out saying, you know, we've been through this. How can we support you?
Yeah, he'll be back.
I think so.
Brady.
Wonderful story.
Thank you.